And hello again, boys and girls. Welcome back to the channel. It's of course your host Marley Startled, and we are going to be continuing on the Confederate campaign today. I've also got a new release from Early Access called Rising Front, which is sort of a sandbox World War One game, which I may move on to afterwards. But you don't need to worry about that now. Instead, we're going to be continuing on our, of course, Ultimate General campaign because I have yet to actually finish it from the Confederate perspective. So we will continue on. I believe this was the one we wanted. Hopefully, fingers crossed it is, but we shall see. We shall see. Yes, this does indeed look like the one I wanted. As you can see, our armies are pretty strong, but our manpower and our money has started to run out. We're also still low on the core, so in the end, I do hope to get at least 3 cores by the time we move on to the midpoint of the war. Altogether, things are looking pretty good. Nothing I can complain about too much, and things aren't looking too badly. But first, we must of course go into the Battle of Gaines Mill, so it will be time for our history lesson in a second, once I've cleared out some of my garbage from my hard drive. There we are. Okay, let's not delete the one that's recording, shall we? Okay, so Gaines Mill. 27th of June 1862, because we won a victory here, minus 50% enemy weapons quality. General McClellan's invasion army raids our lands near Richmond. Instead of using our forces to defend, we will concentrate for an assault towards the right flank of the Union army. Our purpose is to gain tactical superiority and force the Yankees to withdraw from the peninsula. We must not lose this battle, or else the Union will get the upper hand and reach the gates of Richmond. So, time for history lesson number 3, I believe. Yes, we did Bull's Run, and this is Shiloh. So, General McClellan's invasion army did not expect our aggressive maneuvers. Instead of using our forces to defend, we concentrated them for an assault towards the right flank of the Union army. Overwhelmed by tactical superiority, the Federal forces composing the Union right flank began to withdraw to the south. After a few miles march, General Porter prepared a strong defensive line along Botswain's Swamp in an effort to stop our advance. We must not lose this battle, or else the Union will get the upper hand and reach the gates of Richmond. So, in this stage of the war, McClellan has taken over, and under his command of the Union forces, he has been able to train up and regulate the Union army into somewhat of a fighting force. The big problem is McClellan is not a particularly decisive general and very rarely moves forward of his own accord. Either some people attribute it to perhaps paranoia, and other people attribute it as perhaps McClellan not wanting to fight the war and making sort of peace overtures. But regardless, McClellan is a great administrative commander at training up troops, but not a particularly decisive one when it comes to actually using them. Regardless, Lincoln sends him down south, where he sends about 100,000 or so of his own of the Union down to take Richmond. Unfortunately, McClellan is a bit of a paranoid fellow, and he is under the assumption that he is coming up against about 200,000 Confederate troops, when in reality the gates of Richmond have about 45,000. And because of some scheming of some of the Confederate commanders of marching troops in a circle in front of him, they're able to convince McClellan very easily that he simply is outnumbered, and so McClellan moves extremely slowly. Welcome back, Fardy Wabadi. Yes, you're back. We're just continuing a history lesson of the Battle of Gaines Mill. So what this allows us to do, or what allows the Confederates to do, is under Robert E. Lee, who was once called the King of Spades and sort of laughed at a little bit for his defensive sort of digging in around Richmond, allows him to take control and organizing a group, organizing his army. He is able to do something which is rather tactically clever. Now, in terms of tactics or combat, if they had fought a broad front offensive against the Union, they would have been horribly outmatched. But what General Lee does is he concentrates his force to attack a specific point of the Union line. So altogether, the Union line may be larger and have more men. At that specific point, the Confederacy has a numbers advantage, coupled with McClellan's sort of paranoia and the assumption that he's dealing against a larger force. McClellan panics, and because of that flanking attack, the Union army starts to run rather embarrassingly, and this is the sort of start of that running where the Confederacy begins to chase after the Union to try and, of course, turn that flank and push them into the peninsula. They can't in the end achieve it, but they do achieve their short-term goals of causing McClellan and his forces to run all the way back north, and this is the start of that. And so in this case of the battle, we're attacking that right flank of the Union, and of course we're trying to roll up the line, attacking as aggressively as possible. So of course we have two things we can do. We can either commit all our forces to the left flank and try and punch through on the left, or we can try a right flank on the Union right and try and push them away from their reinforcements. We're going to do a bit of both, and we're going to see how well this plays out. So the Union forces that made up McClellan's right flank have retreated through Gaines Mill. General Porter now holds a defensive line along Botswain Creek. Our plan is to suppress and destroy the Union's right flank is now at a very critical point. The main bulk of our forces are expected to arrive from the northwest. A portion of our army is ordered to maneuver to the east and flank the Federals. And here's the Union defensive line. We must coordinate our attack from multiple directions and pass through the Union defenses to secure this objective here. Then continue south and threaten the main Union army. The Yankees will surely reinforce the area with more troops coming from this direction. Act with caution, General. We're moving to attack position. It is advised to carefully advance up this ridge, clear the roads of enemy skirmishers, and maintain a defensive line until the rest of our reinforcements arrive. Don't bother that. General, we attack the Union lines before Botswain Creek only if practicable. The position is strong. Good luck. So we're going to have one cavalry unit, and we're going to get some lovely, lovely cannons. And our aim will be to march south to form a sort of sickle shape around this position. So if we can march all the way around, we can in fact circumvent the enemy defenses and push over to take this objective. To get our victory here, we need to hold Botswain's Hill and hold McGee Hill. So if we hold either this one and this objective over here, we get a victory, I believe. I don't know if that is that Botswain's will hold, or we need to hold the other one. Yes, the southern strategy is the most effective, but if you can, you want to destroy the army. So once we do drive them from that position via the southern strategy, our reinforcements will move forward over here, and the eastern strategy will hope to turn it into a cauldron of which to squash the Union army before reinforcements arrive. Of course, depending on our equipment and how good our troops are, it may not be able to be achievable, but I have faith. But the southern strategy is indeed the best strategy. So we just take our troops like that and march them all the way down. We can hopefully turn the position and not have to fight over these objectives. Yeah, the frontal offensive is costly and not worth doing, so you don't really want to do that. However, the problem with the southern strategies, of course, is a lot of marshland here, so you have to be a bit careful with how you maneuver your troops. If you maneuver if you maneuver too quickly, then your troops will get very tired and they won't be able to advance and push through the enemy lines. We've got some skirmishers, but we've dealt with that more or less. These guys are going to have to move over here to secure this position. And our cavalry will hold behind to secure our armor. I personally prefer to turn the flank on the north, as that tends to be more of a lighter on casualties. Yes, I believe that indeed is correct. The turning a Union flank on the north is more lighter because they do end up forming quite a concentrated blob over here. But I try to aim for each battle to destroy the enemy proper, and that's why I try and achieve encirclements, because then I get more equipment and I also get 1,000 troops back. So if you're just going to win and limit casualties, then I would go to achieve the bare minimum to get the victory. But if you're aiming for annihilation of the enemy, which I try and do for most of the battles until later on, I try and do a flank on both sides because the idea is that I can squash the enemy in this sort of cauldron. But that depends on how much troops I've got and manpower wise and things like that. It's easier said than done. And of course, if you're going to take too many casualties, it may just be better not to do it. But hey ho. And by the time we move forward, we should hopefully be in a position to begin doing some harder damage. I mean, we could be cheesy and just use skirmishers just to slowly weed out that front, but it depends, really, it depends. I'm going to make sure my troops don't walk or don't run either, because I'm going to need their energy for the next parts. I'm going to have to send these guys running, unfortunately. I'm not going to send my guys running, and then he sends his guys running. Alright, now we stop running because that position has more or less been cleared by our cannons. Ouch. Ouch. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Cannons moving forward. Our second reserves of reinforcements will be coming, but I don't think I have many reinforcements left to send up. Yeah, I got like one troop. Oh no, I've got a couple of troops. And these guys will move over here to form our next sort of crushing encirclement. Oh god, you're insane, you're insane. My cavalry's insane. And I just slowly dry them off the field. It's a gradual manoeuvring. I'm trying to keep my lines in a fairly... Because what happens when you start contracting your lines to encircle, you get overlaps. I'm trying to avoid overlaps so I get as much troops on the fire on the front as possible. Out to cover, not very good. You guys got to run over here quick. How's my cavalry? Over here. Just got to threaten with that cavalry. Okay, these guys start running. Gotta capture McGee Hill, that shouldn't be too difficult to do. Oh god, you're insane. And our troops are coming forward. Can slowly push them back. And that, I believe, is a pretty healthy spot. I may send this cavalry around to maybe capture that hill just in case. Hmm. There's our right flank coming in. A lot of my troops are tired now. The right flank is coming in. I got... Maybe I can capture some of their horses as well. No. Let's move this troop back. It's too wounded now. And there we are. There we are, and that is more or less the enemy front beginning to collapse. Ouch, 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 ouch. I've lost millions of troops there. My cannons have moved forward and now are being mown down. Bruh. Oh no, that's friendly cannon. Enemy cannons. I was like, bruh. There's my first prisoners. And then let's aim to capture this objective before the end of the day. Now it's getting costly. Mostly because I've got to push to capture that last part. There we are. Oh, I had one more turn. Okay. Bit of a waste of resources there. Still got 1 hour for this. Bit embarrassed. Bit embarrassing. I thought I was going to end after this battle, after that timer. It could have been a much less costlier battle if I'd known. But we won anyway, so there you go. So, infantry 24,943 to my 31,000. They've got 12,000 losses, so they've lost over half. I lost about 10% of my army, just over 10%, so 1%, so 10% of 30,000 is 3,000. 1% of that is divided by 10 again, 300, about 12%, 13%. Not the worst casualties, but I had hoped for it to really annihilate the enemy. Still, we got a load of captured guns, but not the best, not the most effective. Regardless, our next step is politics, and then I think medicine will be the next one for our trickle back. So if we increase the size of our army, there we are. Replan all our troop numbers. Again, not spending anything too expensive on my stuff. a pretty easy battle. I had hoped to close the pincer a bit more. If I'd known I'd had more time to do it, I wouldn't have thrown my troops as aggressively for that final part. But sometimes it's hard to tell, so it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. Pretty effective battle. Could have gone a lot slower, more methodically. One thousand, 1,500, yes, yes, yes. Howitzers, buy a couple of those, buy a couple of these. Any more Napoleons I can buy? How many Napoleons have I got? No, not really. And then it's about repairing the rest of the armies.
Yes, sir.
I generally always try and give my first corps the most experience because, of course, the first corps generally is what I use for most of my shock tactics. I think our manpower's not going to be too much of an issue. No, not the end. We can still upgrade more troops. That's fine. My only issue with my manpower is if I can't make more troops at the end of it, but it looks like I can. All of these guys have got Lorenzes, Patterns, yes, Enfield, Palmetto, so let's start equipping these guys with something a little bit better. Lorenzes. Lorenzes.
Yes, sir.
Upgrade these guys, give them 1,500. Harper's Ferry, yeah, boys. Harper's Ferry, I'll take that. Buy a couple of Mississippis. A few more Mississippis. Effective range of 300, whereas the Enfield gives me effective range of 340. Expensive, isn't it? Very expensive. I'm going to start selling some stuff. Cavalry stuff. Sell the Sharps rifles. Sell those extra palmettos. Sell these parrot guns, we'll never end up using them. And sell the reboard farmers, you definitely won't be using them. Give me more money, please. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
151515. Let's get some more cannons. What cannons have we got? We got 16 of these bad boys. 2 more cannons, I think. 2 more sweet cannons. Any more captured cannons? No, but we'll buy a couple of those anyway. Okay, moving on to our next corps. Speed +5. I do like speed. But I do like XP, and we'll go for speed this time. And we've got enough cav for the rest of the game, so I'm not going to get any more cav.
Yes, sir.
Palmetto. 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 And an artillery piece. Let's give these guys a howitzer. And we'll give them one cavalry for one brigade. There you are. That's pretty healthy. We've got a pretty healthy army. We've got 20, 40, 45,000 men under arms, and we've got some infantry to spare. Let's start upgrading our troops. And now we move on to Malvern Hill, which is another historical battle. Really, I don't know much about Malvern Hill. Just that it was part of the Peninsula Campaign, which was sort of just the Union running away in panic. But we'll see how we pull it off. So, because we won Gaines Mill, they've got minus 10% enemy army size. And because we defeated them at the Battle of Shiloh, they got minus 15 on equipment quality as well, so they should be pretty bad at the moment. After the Battle of Gaines Mill, John McClellan has been convinced that the Peninsula Campaign cannot last any longer. The main camp of the Union Army has been set up at Harrison's Landing to prepare for withdrawal. Under the safety of the ironclad, John McClellan organised his last line of defence at Malvern Hill. We gamble and attack the heavily fortified position in an attempt to bring a decisive end to Union operations near Richmond. Of course, if we win, we really just dominate. If we draw, we don't do too badly either in terms of manpower gaining. And in that defeat, we lose 20% of our prestige. Now, this is a pretty interesting battle because you can do a lot of damage in this battle if you're lucky. But we'll go into more detail in a bit. So our first wave, of course, will be our best troops. Our reinforcing wave will be the wave on the right flank, and the reserves will be what we have created at the end. After our last fight, the Yankees were forced to withdraw. They're preparing to leave from Harrison's Landing a few miles to the south. Now we have a chance to advance and completely destroy them. Joe McClellan is so cautious that half his army is guarding Harrison's Landing some miles southwards. Perhaps he thinks he is outnumbered. We have concentrated most of our army to seize Malvern Hill that guards their right flank. If we succeed in pushing him back, all will be lost for them. The flank will collapse and we'll be able to chase him down to the James River till no one escapes. The bulk of the defences are stationed at the foot of Malvern Hill. They're waiting for us with heavy artillery support to advance in open ground. It's very risky to attack the west side of Malvern Hill. The ground is swampy and our soldiers will be shot dead before they even reach the hill. Attacking the east side is not a good idea. There are few passable river sections and we will lose too many troops trying to climb the rocky cliffs. Although heavily fortified, the centre is the weakest point and we must breach it, prepared to attack. Again, that is a lie. Don't do that. The defence position is strong. Our staff officers have advised we soften them up with artillery until all our forces can join the fight. We can put the west side of Malvern Hill in a crossfire if we establish artillery batteries near this area. And from here we can bombard the east side of the hill. General has recommended proceed with the plan, but of course there's a weakness in Union formation. You can decide otherwise. We have reserved ammo for about 1 hour of continuous fire. So, in this battle, you face a very strong defensive Union front line. That will initially be very hard to break. However, you can, of course, flank over river crossing on the left-hand side, and with reinforcements, you can bring your second Confederate force to flank entirely around the Union Army. This potentially allows you to completely annihilate the Union Army in one single battle, as you can eventually form a gigantic cauldron of which to slowly whittle them down. That's if it works out. If it doesn't work out, it can become a very long slog and really cripple your ability to fight the war at a later date. Still, we've got a pretty strong army force. There's no need to cross over here. I'm going to leave a couple of reserves on the right here. Simply because I do not want them to potentially break through a gap in this line in this sector. And then the cannons is going to frontally bombard. Oh, they've got the range for that, have they? Oh, no thank you. There's literally no need for me to fight that. Oh, wow. We've already routed. Fine. We can sit there and just whittle you down then. So our second horde of troops will be coming. But these guys have a different task, and that is the advance over here. The cannons, on the other hand, are solidly set up on this position. I don't really want to crush them too badly just yet, because I do want to move around them, you see. Fine, I guess we'll move over here. What's these with these troops? Slowly wear them down. There we go. Slowly but surely push them into a position where they can't withdraw. Okay. Yankees are not that much of an issue, really. So reserves are coming forward. Should allow us to just completely go round. Slowly breaking down. These guys can move up on the left now. And these guys can start running. A lot of my troops have got battered on the right, but that's fine. I just needed to hold them, keep them pinned. Start picking up the good stuff. Yep. The guys who haven't been in combat for a while. Fight! I'd hope for something a tad more decisive. Send those guys that way. My reinforcements are taking too long. Well, break 'em. I want to see routes. Thanks, that's a long time to move up the rest of my troops. Like, if we can just keep this up, we'll just slowly crash them that way. Nice. I think most of their cannons are gone, which is nice. Finally was able to wear that out. Shater can run. He's more or less done his job. Still trying to crush this army. If I can just get this to be crushed, I'll be a happy camper, but I haven't been able to achieve a decisive battle yet. Okay, we can go back to free speed. Die! We're out! Finally, we got to surrender. Finally. Oh, you guys are going to get screwed if I don't pay attention to you. My first prisoners, but the army still is intact, which is I don't like. I think this is going to work. I think so. Go, go, go. I had hoped not to drive them into the woods, but I've been able to slowly wear them out regardless, so it's not the end of the world. My dudes are slowly running out of ammo as well. Where's the wagon? Casualties go, not that bad. Okay, send this guy back, send this guy forward. Mostly wiped, I would say. Mostly annihilated. Here's my supplies I wanted. We can finish off the battle. Oh, we can keep going. I intend to keep going until I've crushed this army. That's still going. There we are, and another prisoner. Some of the losses have been excessive, I will admit, for some of my regiments, but as a rule, I can't complain too much. As, you know, their entire front line has more or less died. You can route, but you got nowhere to route to. I would have preferred more prisoners, but hey ho. I've got captured supplies over here, haven't I? Send these guys up. 1, 2, and 3. That's not supplies, that is supplies. Well, now we can chill. And that is more or less the entirety of the Union Army collapsed. But we will have to wait and see to see whether or not, until after the battle, to see whether or not that was a successful collapse of the enemy. So altogether, not a bad battle. I had a little bit of an issue trying to break through on that right flank. I perhaps shouldn't have thrown my troops across here, and instead waited until my left flank had sort of pushed them into the river. I had hoped to more or less sort of break through on the right and form a sort of encirclement, but because they had this area locked down, I couldn't actually break through. And so you ended up with this sort of result of me pushing them to this corner of the map. Altogether, a pretty easy battle. That's really just more about just trying not to make too many pointless losses. But you can see here that the way the game wants you to do it by frontally assaulting is not a particularly clever idea. So Fitzporter, Henselman, Erasmus Keyes, and Henry Hunt versus Marl Lee, Duane Church, and Harry Hayes. They're 32,000 to my 46,000. They lost 24,000 men to my 12,000. So if 10% is 4,600, then let's round up to 5,000. I lost about 20% of my army. They lost about half of their army, which is pretty good, all things considered. Half their army gone. Although my casualties I would have preferred to be a bit less, but hey, it is what it is. And this is the reason why we want to sort of annihilate armies. It's so we can get those captured bits of equipment, which then we can use later on. So now we have enough to outfit our infantry with a lot better supplies and so on and so forth. So career points +2, reputation +15. If we take a look at our manpower and start upgrading again, I have no intention of ever getting veterans for this moment. Okay, our next level, accuracy +10, firearms +10. Which one's got speed? Cover, rotation speed, stealth, not very useful to me. Reload speed -10, this is probably better. Firearms. Although one of our guys did get to bite the bullet, so we will hire a new colonel.
Yes, sir.
Money's good. This is the sort of Confederate good point for the campaign. You can. this is a pretty healthy position. You're not going to struggle too much here.
Yes, sir.
I dread to think what my other flankers, my other corps probably got smashed.
Sir, yes, sir.
Oh, we lost a corps commander. Longstreet, you'll be a division commander. You'll be a division commander now. Yeah, these guys took a pounding. These guys got smashed. I think this is where most of my casualties came from, not the left flank, but the right.
Form line.
And that's going to cost us a lot of infantry equipment. Or manpower.
Yes, sir. Form line. Sir, yes, sir.
Still, we got 5,000 men left over, so it's not the end of the world.
Yes, sir.
And these guys now been blooded, so these will hopefully be a bit better next time. Especially once I start equipping with better equipment. Corps Commander, let's upgrade our Corps Commander with... Oh, Millie's nice. Millie, firearms, reload time. Or firearms, accuracy, and reload time. Let's go for infantry. Infantry is our bread and butter, so we'll go with that. So next battle will be Second Bull's Run, but we're going to do our skirmishes first. Something like that, Tom, something like that. So I can wield 46, so I need about 3 corps worth of troops. So if I can, the aim will be to get another corps.
Yes, sir.
But we shall see if that works out for us. How have you been? How was your Christmas, Tom? That's the question. That's the be-all or end-all question. So equip these guys with this garbage thing for us early on until my manpower runs out. 1. 2. I don't use the farmers. If you'd be insane to use the farmers. Let's get the Mississippis. Oh, you got a new Pokemon game. Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't even know there's a new Pokemon out. Didn't even know that was a new one out. So, time to equip our infantry with better stuff. Enfield, Mississippi, Mississippi. Springfield, so let's change that to... So money's not the issue right now, the issue is manpower again, so we'll once again try and conserve manpower. Lorenz.
Yes, sir.
Stardew Valley. Ah, I got all the Nintendo games. I see, I see. A Nintendo boy. Yeah, nice chill games. I see what you mean. You want to go for the chill boys. I'm going to give these guys the Mississippis. Oh, I can't run out of money. So once again, we're going to start upgrading our best units with our better equipment. So the Springfield 1855s. Nope. Okay. Mississippi, Lorenz, Springfield. Okay, need to change that. Have a Mississippi. Our force ain't too bad. Oh, cool, we got a tablet. They're quite hard to get hold of now. Your tabby boys. So what do I need to do? Alright, I'm going to pick a stat that saves manpower. So Manassas Depot or Cedar Mountain. I've still got a really old one, but the power keeps dying on it, so I've got to be a bit careful because it's starting to break on me. Let's go with Cedar Mountain, shall we? It seems that the Federals are not planning to attack soon. However, their presence at the peninsula is a real threat for our capital. We need to develop a bold strategy and strike the enemy supply line around Manassas. The Federals will be pressed to respond by relocating forces from peninsula and loosen the pressure on Richmond. Advance rapidly to the north, around the right and the Union Army, and cut the Orange and Alexandria Railroad, breaking the supply line. Yes, so I used the AI art to make some, and they could do some really good war ones, actually. I was quite impressed by the AI art for the banners and logos. He defeated the enemy at the Battle of Malvern Hill, causing thousands of Federal troops to desert the Union Army, so minus 7% army size. Yeah, I mean, I was really impressed by the AI art. I just didn't realize it was capable of doing something like that. Yankees have been alerted to our presence. There's some like World War I ones they can make. It's really good. They've occupied the ridge around Cedar Run. You have no choice but to attack to repel them. Good luck, General. Good. Nothing too drawn out. I forgot what I do for this map. I think I break through on the left and slowly push them off the position. I think that's the correct strategy for that. Get rid of the cavalry with the garbage guns. There we are. Crack out some cannons. And that should be good. I think that's what I do. I do something like this. And the idea is just to break through here and then punch our way into the enemy objective on the right. But these guys are my elite corps, so I'm not going to be too worried about them. They've got the best equipment. They're pretty well trained. ChatG. Oh wow, really? Yeah, actually, I have noticed that the new. I have heard that the new chat bot has the ability to make some like proper scholarship level essays. I was very impressed, very impressed. And you can do it in such a way that it's like it's in your own words. So you dump a load of essays that are in your own words, then you say, do an essay on this as in the same style as the essays I've just shown you. And it does, and it gives you like an amazing level of detail and clarity. Highly recommend it. You love the Civil War, you don't want to do too much heavy macro, highly recommend getting this bad boy. You will love this game. It's got hours of replayability, it's got 2 campaigns, countless skirmish battles. There is no sort of sandbox, but bear in mind that you will have hours worth of enjoyment, and because the campaign is persistent, each campaign will feel different depending on how well you do. And so I could not... If you like RTS games and you like the sort of line battle experience, I highly recommend it. If I'm brutally honest, I don't know why they haven't done another one like this for the Napoleonic Wars. But it is, if you are a strategy gamer and you like the American Civil War, I highly recommend. It's one of the games you need to have in your library. It's an astounding game. And that's just not, and I haven't even been paid to say that. Like, I come back to this game after years because of how great it is. Because it sets the scene, it's got all the tricks with it. you really do feel, especially towards the end of the campaign, as the Confederacy sort of strapped and really just trying to do the last roll of the dice. And there's something sickly enjoyable about getting an encirclement or encircling the enemy or slowly causing a chain rout. We've got nurses striking in the UK. They're trying to pass laws banning strike action, or but they've reworded the banning to provide a minimum service. Bearing in mind, our National Health Service can't even provide a minimum service when it is at capacity or when it's at normal working hours. It effectively is banned striking. That's what our government's doing right now. We've also got the railways on strike. I think we're going to have teachers on strike soon as well. I think we've got the Scottish teachers on strike. Everyone is on strike, and it's because of the cost of living. I don't blame the nurses. I mean, the amount of work hours you got, like you're all constantly on your feet. You're constantly being called in to do more hours. It must be awful being a nurse. But anyway, my mum used to be a nurse, but then she became a private nurse because she was just fed up of working and being worn out and almost bullied to an extent by the workers, by the bosses, into doing more hours. I don't blame the nurses for striking. It's not really to do with pay. It's just to do there's not enough nurses. It's just a simple fact. There's just not enough nurses, and it's not just because of the pay. That's the issue. It's because of what do you call it? It's because of they're so understaffed. They're so understaffed. Like really, really understaffed. And that means they have to do more work and they get burnt out. But things aren't looking too good here either, so don't be too upset. But they are trying to pass laws, so it's like France, where you've got to provide a minimum service, but it's not going to really change anything. There'll just be more strikes and less effective strikes. But then again, the government can't really afford to give them a pay rise, so you know, it's sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't. But don't worry, we clap for them doing. Oh, you know what happened. We clap for carers. That's what counts. That feeds the family, doesn't it? A nice little clap. But that's me being what do you call it? A pessimist. And we tried to stay apolitical here, so I'll try and not rant too much. You can see here that I'm not really having to think too much about this battle. Once you break through and you've got pretty well equipped, what will tend to happen in this game, there'll be one particularly costly battle what destroys your veterancy of your troops, and then you're done for. We're in a bit of a weird spot right now because we voted to leave the EU and we trusted the Conservative Party to do it. But since then, the Conservative Party sort of screwed up our economy and doomed us to a recession for the next 5 years. And so it looks like our second big party, the Labour Party, is going to take over. But everyone's a bit scared about the Labour Party because they think they may go down the sort of going back into the EU, or they may just start doing this weird, you know, ideological stuff. But there's no one really to pick because the Conservatives are done for. They've just completely crashed the economy. I don't blame them. You can't really blame them that much because, you know, there was a big pandemic, so you've got to expect the economy to be hit a bit hard. But it was things like the second lockdown and things like that they shouldn't have done. Scottish, God, the Scottish. They're always trying to... There's a party in Scotland that always wants independence, but they don't realise that most of the money that goes into Scotland is us paying them. Like, I put it this way, in the UK you've got to pay tuition to go to university. In Scotland you don't. Now, and the government pays for it. And guess where government gets the money from? It gets the money from us, guys in England. So the Scottish gets a free pass to go to uni where we own up student debt. But I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. And what irritates me is even, like, half the time a degree is worthless. Like, a person isn't very good. They need experience or they need to have that enthusiasm. But the way employment works in the UK is that you need that piece of paper to get a job. Like it's a passport to middle income. That's what it is. You could get a degree in the history of snails, but because you have a degree, that gets your foot through the door for an interview. Just to be, I don't know, a teacher. And that's how it works in the UK. So it acts as a passport to be middle class, and that's why everyone is obsessed about degrees in the UK. Even then, it won't get you a job because you need like X years of experience and you need a degree and X amount of qualifications, which no one can get unless they've already established themselves in. It's like catch-22. You need experience and this qualification to do the job, but in order to get that qualification and this experience, you need to do the job first. But I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm not salty. I'm not mad. I'm not seething. Snorts copium. Snorps cefium. But I have a sinking feeling we're going to go the way of Poland, where people just leave the UK to find work elsewhere to bring money back home. That's what I think what's going to happen, because the actual pay in the UK is not worth the cost of living. And so what my family have done is they've gone abroad to work, and then once they've got their money, they go back and live in England. That's what's going to happen to England as well. Because you could do a job in Dubai that pays double with no tax, and if you did the same job in England, you'd get half of it would get taxed, and your outgoings would be too high. So that's it's like people just start leaving the country, and then they come back and buy houses and increase the housing prices. But that's enough. That's enough. No more cefium, no more copium. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Try not to think about it. Play video games instead. That's a healthy mindset to have. Don't think about it. Play video games. Put on a t-shirt. And victory. All I have to do now is hold, chill, relax. I don't think it came out of a tutorial when I bought it. Normally there's tutorial scenarios at the start of the campaign, which sort of breaks you in. I can't remember if there is a tutorial. I'd have to check. Once this battle's over, I'll save. But I honestly say you don't really need a tutorial for most of the basic concepts. You've got cover. Woods give you more cover, forts give you more cover, and if you're in a river you get no cover, and to do the most damage you need to get the best weapons, the best training, and to flank the enemy. And part of the game is sort of failing along the way. Like, that's part of the enjoyment of the game, it's the failing. But if you're gonna, I would recommend playing. If you're gonna start a new game, I would recommend playing on easy mode as a union first, because that's a very, very easy mode. It's very hard to lose on that. And then once you're happy with that, then go medium as a union, and then once you're happy with that, then potentially do easy difficulty as the Confederacy, and then medium for the Confederacy, because medium for the Confederacy is like hard mode. But if you're gonna feel like you don't want to like get to like 2 hours into your campaign and lose, then I would recommend that you go with the Union campaign on easy at the start. I mean, the last, like it will be painful towards the end, but it will never feel like you're going to lose. What I'm a bit worried about is the what do you call it? Electric vehicles. That's the future, but the thing is, the UK hasn't got the infrastructure for electric vehicles. They haven't got it. Our roads and that are too cluttered. We got no forecourts. So this is skirmish mode. So this is a skirmish mode. So you have the big historical battles, but on the lead up to the historical battles, you can choose to play skirmish battles for money and for more manpower. And these skirmish battles can be based off historical scenarios or historical minor battles, or they can just be random scenarios. And of course, you have a set of objectives. It might be defend, maybe attacking, and set terrain, and you've got to win it. Really, the aims of the scenarios are to win while conserving your manpower and destroying the enemy. I like to try and destroy the enemy before, in each battle if I can, but if it's going to be too costly, I'm not going to bother. So in this case, I'm slowly going to try and chip away at these guys. And try and destroy the enemy in detail. Because that gives me more equipment, and it gives me the potential to do more, to lower the enemy's ability to bring more troops to bear in the next battle. Which you sort of need to do as a Confederacy, because there's a sort of elastic band mechanic, so if you do too well and start annihilating Union Army in every battle, then they will get extra reinforcements after each battle to sort of make sure each battle is pretty challenging. Now what this can mean is you end up in a situation there if you aren't doing particularly well and you aren't sort of annihilating the Union Army in each battle. As the Confederacy, you can end up going against like double your number, and it can quickly become a painful affair. So what I like to do is slowly but surely wear out the enemy where possible, and finish the battle if I feel like it's getting too costly. So in this case, we get ourselves a victory, beat these guys, 18,000 men to my 15,000. This is going to get progressively worse for the Confederacy as the battle goes on, where we're going to end up with less and less men against the Union. But in terms of guns, we should have captured quite a few guns and quite a few cannons and things like that, so it's not the end of the world. Yay! Okay. At which point we invest copiously into rebuilding our armies. Of course, you build your armies organically, so you can either pick skirmishers, cannoneers, or infantry regiments, and then you can equip them. You can give certain commanders to them. So if I wanted to LARP, I could put General Lee in charge of this corps, and so on and so forth, or make him in charge of the army.
Sir, yes, sir.
And of course, you've got mechanics like equipment. So if you've got the better equipment, then of course you'll be able to fire over longer ranges. And of course, if you've got the worse equipment and worse training, then of course you are going to be less resistant to combat penalties like being volleyed, and less able to inflict damage. So what I like to do is I like to keep my first corps as my elite shock corps, which I give the best equipment to, and make sure they're always in every skirmish battle, so they're the most veteran. And then afterwards I go into other other fields, but I very rarely will spend money on veterans unless I absolutely have to, because it's costly. But you can see if I increase if this means that each battle really can have a real big impact on the future battle. So if I fight the next battle and this corps gets annihilated, then I'm gonna have to use all my money and all my recruits to replace that corps, and that means that they will have pretty much no experience, and then in the next battle they will get annihilated, and it will progressively get worse and worse, unless you really pull off some very tactically clever moves. I need a cannon. Can I buy more troops? And up here you have prestige, which if you get below a certain amount, the game's over and you lose. But you can also use it to buy new sort of bonuses such as manpower, money, and so on and so forth. I tend to buy manpower and money when I can, because that means I can field more troops. 46 Napoleons, yes. Anyone else got some Napoleons they want to buy? Okay, infantry. These guys I equipped with crappy troops, crappy equipment, because it's cheap and it's captured, so I don't have to worry too much about it. And then we move on to the next battle. Up here I'm adding more supply to my supply wagon, so our troops don't run out of ammo. And of course you see different mechanics, like command means sort of, what does that actually mean? Affects efficiency, so different commanders affect efficiency. Morale, of course, is shocks. So what you can do is human waves against the later levels, and try and break through defenses. If your troops are very recruit level or they're quite inexperienced, then they won't do a very good job at breaking through. Stamina is, of course, the ability to run. That's very important for later battles. Firearms, of course, how well you fire, and melee is your charge. Different bits of equipment can, of course, give you different bonuses. So the farmer is actually very good at melee, with a melee of 95, meaning that you could equip your troops with farmers and use them as literal melee warriors, but they've got garbage for everything else. And so this is really, you only equip that, you only equip troops with farmers if you've got the manpower, or you haven't got the money and you're just desperately trying to throw troops at a problem. And of course, you reboard farmers, aggressively kept higher range, and then of course your best equipment is down here with the Fayettevilles, but they're hard to mass produce. Unfortunately, very rarely do you get enough Fayettevilles to equip a line with it. So generally you'll be around Harper's Ferry, which of course is probably the best weapon you're going to get for all the battles, with a good melee rate, an effective range of 350, and pretty good accuracy. I like Lorenz personally because it has a good effective range and a pretty good accuracy as well, with a damage of 11.5, whereas these guys have got a fire of 50, fire of 40. But I would go for Lorenz if you can, as your bog standard, if you can afford it. Anyway, this is our elastic band mechanic. So a Battle of Cedar Mountain, effectively this is captured correspondence from the Union, saying that I've just been destroyed by this dude, come and help me. And they say, okay, we're going to send you 2,900 more troops. And then of course we have Manassas Depot, which I don't particularly like playing because it takes my troops away from me. Manassas Depot is a pretty naff battle, but it's another skirmish on the lead up to the second Bulls run. So, our latest reports describe a massive federal supply depot at Manassas Junction, guarded only by a small garrison. You will lead General Trimble's brigade. His regiments are taking up positions in the woods and are ready to commence the assault before daybreak. More reinforcements are on the way to support you. So if you lose 12 reputation, but if you win, you get 3,500 more men, which means, of course, another regiment you can field and a load of money. As a rule, for the Confederacy, you more or less always want to be winning. Trimble. Yeah. I got it. So to win this, I need to hold both depots. So I need to move both troops forward. But these troops are not my own. These are free spawns. So that means I can pretty much obliterate my troops. I'm going to 5-speed this because I hate this level, basically. In short, I hate this level. So we start firing down on this fort. This fort is poo, don't worry about it. Early's arrived. We'll send Early down to capture this fort. And then we move our troops in. With our cannons to the centre. Run our boys away. We don't want them there. And move everyone else around. The idea here is just to delay and be a nuisance. That's all we're trying to do here. There we are. And start firing away. Panic because they've just taken up position. Keep moving the cannons forward. You can see why I don't like this battle. It's sort of pseudo-defensive, but not really, and the defensive positions are garbage. And the troops you have are pretty garbage as well. Still, it's better than the Union, than playing as a Union for this level. Really? And now we just have to wait and hold for like the next 20 minutes or so. The game has quite underhanded sometimes because it'll have these little fortifications and you'll be thinking, oh, this is a good idea to put your troops there, but actually sometimes you get massive penalties for putting your troops in the fortifications. And sometimes that's to represent the historical weakness of some fortifications. So at Gaines Mill, if you put your troops into cover, what will happen is you would take massive casualties on the trench line because, of course, historically those trenches were pretty poo. All those defences were pretty poo. Come on early. Don't be late. And with that, we're good. We can do as we like. Because they're not my troops, I can also start throwing them into the meat grinder to start taking as many damage as many troops as possible. Maybe get some captured weapons from it. Oh, they're running into the woods. If you can first take that supply wagon. Hop, hop, hop. There we are. And destroy this for me. And take the supply wagon all the way back over here. Good. Bring that supply wagon over here. Bring that supply wagon over here. So you guys will still be able to fire without ammunition, but it just means their fire will be slower, and that's to simulate them like looting bodies and so on and so forth. Because it'd be a nightmare having to move troops around without supply. So it's always recommended that you have a large supply reserve. And the battle's over. We can call it here. Good. 7,200 Union troops to my 6,000. They lost 5,000 to my 2,000. Pretty good odds. Pretty good casualty ratios. The only reason we did this is because they're not my troops, so I don't care what happens to them. And because now we get 1,409 Springfields, 1 M1855s, and a load of supplies. That means I can upgrade one of my infantry units and give them an awful lot of ammunition. So now I can give these guys an M1855.
Yes, sir.
And give these guys an M1855.
Sir, yes, sir.
And keep Lorenz. And give these guys an M1855. Expensive, but worth it. So my logic here is the reason why we go down politics first is because this gives us massive bonuses, or a healthy bonus to income and a healthy bonus to recruits. 25% increase and a 25% increase for every victory. And it also means now I'm going down medicine because this means I don't lose as many recruits because I get a bit of casualty trickle back. As you take a look over here, my unit restore is at 14%. If I can get this up to say 25%, that means I'll be able to get 25% of any casualties lost in a battle, which will save me a lot of pain and suffering. In any case, now we have another 5,000 troops. That's another corps we can call out. And for that, we're going to use the Enfield. And for this, we're going to equip these guys with a Springfield.
Sir, yes, sir.
Because Springfields are woefully cheap. And then we're going to equip some cannons. First, I'll equip these guys with a 6-pounder.
Yes, sir.
And with that, we have now got a whopping 23, 46, 50, 60,000 man army, which is great. Now I'm going to equip these guys with Napoleons. Because my Napoleons are my shotguns, so to speak, with a devastating short-range barrage.
Sir, yes, sir.
And then we'll spend some money on upgrading our cannons. This leads us into, I believe, the next battle, which is the second Battle of Bull's Run. This will be our last battle for today because I want to play this new Rising Front early access game, which I'll play after dinner. So, the second Bull's Run, a battle I'm not particularly well acquainted with. I don't know if it was the conclusion of the Peninsula campaign or it is the start of the Antietam campaign. I'll have to read and refresh my mind. But because we achieved both victories, the enemy will now have minus 7% army size and minus 20% enemy weapon quality. So, following the recent events of the Peninsula campaign, a portion of our forces initiated a wide flanking maneuver and raided the Union supply depot at Manassas Junction. As a result, Union Army under General Pope was forced to abandon its defensive line at the Rappahannock River and move towards Washington. We gambled by leaving Richmond almost undefended to attack the isolated Union Army. So it appears like this is the culmination of the Peninsula campaign and not the start of the Antietam campaign, or maybe the Antietam campaign was the conclusion of the Peninsula campaign, I can't remember, but we'll take a look in a second. Victory, of course, gives us loads of manpower. Draw gives us not a lot. This will probably just about repair our army, and of course a defeat will just result in our collapse. So, second Battle of Bull Run. Following the recent events of the Peninsula campaign, we've already said this, Pope's line of communication with Washington was threatened and he had to abandon his defensive lines, withdrew a few miles to the northwest and took up defensive positions on a stony ridge, with hope to lure Pope into a trap. The rest of our army had left Richmond almost undefended to reinforce us and attack the unsuspecting Union army. So, I don't remember historically what happened in this battle, but I do think it was another failed attempt at a decisive battle by the Confederacy. Effectively, what you had was a strong corps or strong army here acting as bait. The Union, of course, stayed here, halted, did pretty much nothing for 2 days, resulted in a mass assault, and then eventually the reinforcements of the Confederacy turned up and the Union withdrew. It was another indecisive battle, not really a particularly strong one, unfortunately, because the Confederacy was never really able to crush the Union force. The Unions withdrew in good order, and the Confederacy again didn't really achieve much in terms of actually decisive battle. But the Union didn't even achieve much either. It's a rather indecisive one, but a big one because you start seeing the sort of the human waves that occurred towards the center and towards the end of the American Civil War. Of course, you don't really see it till Fredericksburg, but hey-ho. Our raid to the Union's massive supply depot at Manassas Junction was a success. This huge blow to the rear dislodged the Army of Virginia from defensive lines along the Rappahannock River. We now move northwards to challenge them to follow us. General Pope, the new commander of the Army of Virginia, is isolated. This is good. This is a good location to set up a trap and attack him with all our force before he is reinforced by General McClellan. Bruh. We took a big risk when we left Richmond undefended, but as we expected, McClellan did not attempt any offensive maneuvers on the peninsula. The rest of our army will arrive tomorrow and reveal a flanking attack on the unsuspecting Yanks. Currently, General Pope assembled his army and reinforcements near Henry Hill. He will most likely withdraw to Washington in the northwest. A diversionary attack could convince him to stay in the area and fight. The division of Rufus King is heading to St. John, to join Pope's main army. Oh, this is like a minor skirmish battle. Don't worry about it too much. Dispatching some of our forces forward. Yeah, don't worry about it. Cavalry, go away. Where's my supply hub there? We can dump a cannon. We can dump some infantry. There we are. And then we start the battle. I think it's just a case of a run and gun job. But depending whether or not they decide to attack will dictate what I do next. Lots of casualty figures. Could be worse. Ouch. Just have to let that play out and see what happens. There we are, now our cannons are starting to do some healthy damage. We lost some of our troops to skirmishers. Yep, I knew it was painful. Let's get a hold. Jesus. Run away. Not a good balls run so far. Finish it. That was a bad balls run. So our plan is going well. Hope took the bait and is preparing to attack us at Stony Ridge. We must hold the strong defensive positions until reinforcements arrive. Seems Pope fell for our trap. We spotted large formations moving forward. There's also enemy activity from the southwards. Watch your flanks, try not to die. Okay, so first thing first, we take these guys and run them over here. And then what we need to do is form a strong defensive line all along here. Leave these guys in reserve. Yeah, leave these 2 units in the reserve and move them forward over here. Send mildly over here. So you have 2 veins of thought. You can abandon the first trench line and move up into the woods. You can also send skirmishers to fight on the rail tracks. I like to send skirmishers on the rail tracks. And then once they send a larger force, I withdraw my skirmishers back. I also like to mass artillery in the north because that's where they tend to attack from. In that north point. So I'm going to start moving our troops down here. And then you want to use your cavalry for your counter-charging. So if the enemy does attack, you can counter the enemy advance. But the first couple of hours should not be particularly eventful. So we can go to max speed on that. The rail tracks are a bit of a trick, a bit of a trap. And they're just going to slowly mass on the front and then charge on in. I mean, if you want, you can maybe send some cavalry around behind. Do some scouting. But the objectives you need to achieve is hold Stony Ridge, hold Henry Hill, and inflict these subs and more casualties. And that's why we don't push over here. Keep trading here if you've got the numbers advantage on it, which you do. So just keep trading. Okay, and then start withdrawing the boys back. And see if I can send this cavalry elsewhere. I'm going to be paying attention to a lot of things now. Most importantly, this position here. There's a first charge, that's why we've got our howitzers there. Counter charge with the cavalry. And then start withdrawing the cavalry back. Start running. And start retreating cavalry back. If you find any other particularly interesting things to attack, then we attack it, but you don't do anything too hasty. Pope has for some reason stalled. He stopped attacking us. He appears to mobilize for an all-out attack. I've also spotted a large formation, probably Porter's division, making a flanking maneuver. That's good news. Our first reinforcements are near and will arrive in about 2 hours. It's advised not to engage them. Have patience till tomorrow. The Federals will be exhausted and depleted by the continuous fighting, and all our reinforcements will be present. This is the part where things start looking bad. So the fight continues. Yes, it does. This is where he does the YOLO offensive. My cavalry needs to be better. Run away. How's the casualty ratio? Not bad. Yeah, that's why we're running away. Really? Out of ammo? Right, where's my wagon? I should change these guys to have sabers. Good luck. Goodbye. I may redirect my cannons over here, depending if they decide to do a YOLO push. It's not bad, but it's just pretty uneventful, this battle, until they start doing a mass offensive. But I don't think they'll do that until their reinforcements arrive. Yep, they're bringing them in now. We should just be able to slowly wear them out. I mean, these are my Napoleons, these are my nappy boys, so we should be fine. Stop relocating troops to the north. Here's the offensive. Where's my commander? See if we can stabilize that. I'm moving the troops up north. Trying to contain that offensive in the north. Send drag back, he's too badly damaged. The north must be protected. Can I move back into cover here now? I think I can. Hold! You're useless now, run away. If I could, I'd try and retreat Garnet. We're just about holding north. Albeit in a costlier way. Hold. Anything going on down here? No, that's fine then. Start redirecting troops over. Start redirecting more troops to the north. Maybe time to beat a managed retreat into the woods. Okay, our reinforcements are here. Oh. We need to take... what? Hold Henry Hill. Where's Henry Hill? Where's Henry Hill? I don't know where Henry Hill is. Oh, it's not on the map. Okay, that's why. We've been somewhat pummeled up here. Keep that there. Those northern offensives have actually been pretty painful. Good cover, bad cover. Charge. Move up. Move, move, move. Has this been contained now, has it? I think so. Another human wave offensive by the north. Oh, ha, ha. And the thing is, the casualty rates are pretty much on par as well, which is something I don't particularly want. I'll just have to relocate assets again. And we keep on doing that right flank. Where's my cavalry? Right, cavalry, move over to capture these. Cannons, just move forward. So far, so good. A pretty effective sweeping motion so far. No, that northern push was more painful than I had anticipated. I just want the supply wagons. That's all I want. Go, 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 go! Can we get more ammo up here for you guys? I think so. Good. Oh, lovely. Lovely stuff. Hold. Come on. Get it. Yay, Cav. I may not even need to have to turn the troops around to crush that. I think the Union Army is more or less annihilated itself. There we are, that's what we needed. And that's the final supply we need to take. Good. Send all these guys back. Or not. Send these guys over here instead. Okay, proceeding to the next day. Ooh. So, we have managed to hold our positions versus superior numbers, and now all Confederate reinforcements are present. It is time to counterattack and sweep the Union Army from the field. Pretty much what we're already doing, but now we'll have all our boys into play. It'll just be a case of taking Henry Hill now, which shouldn't be too difficult. We'll just continue our sweeping action. A very hard fight today, but we managed to hold our positions. Pope does not seem to understand the tactical situation. He mobilized for another large assault in our centre. Either Pope does not know that we have more reinforcements, or he believes that he wants to withdraw from the area. We must be ready to initiate a counterattack with our fresh corps. Our primary objective is to hold our centre at Stony Ridge and find the right time to attack the Union left. Afterwards, we can sweep the field. Long story short, drag, drop. Drag, drop. And drag, drop. We haven't got time for this level of complexity. And these guys can move forward like so. I don't think they're going for another counterattack. Oh, they are actually. Bruh. Oh crap, they are. That was silly of me. Did not realise that. You surely don't have enough men to keep on the offensive. Like, I've still got men. You do not. Yeah, I should have pushed into here earlier. Oh well. Not in the world, we can still hold his position. Oh. Oh. Who died? Sorry. Sorry. You will be remembered. Probably. Wherever you were. We're not too badly mauled. We could be more mauled. You know, it could be a whole lot worse. We're going in for another assault. Do I need to be worried about this? Not really. No, we're fine. Garnet is really quite low on manpower now. Can start retreating troops from there. Run, 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 run. Send this guy back up to secure that line. Send these guys back. To push to Henry Hill. And send back the real damage cores. I don't want to lose them accidentally. Get them routed. We can go back to free speed now. Hup. These are my raw recruits, so I suspect them to be quite difficult to take hard positions, so we'll have to train them up slowly. Quickly, concentrate all your forces to attack Henry Hill. This is the last barrier of Pope's defense. He has no defense. There's literally nothing left. He has literally nothing left. Pretty much nothing left. Keep drawing them from the field. There we are, 500 men. That's 500 more men for me. That's another 1,000 men for me. Hopefully a load of guns as well. And try and draw them off. Go for shooting this, please, and go for shooting that. Alas, our troops are now too barely damaged in our main quarter to do anything else. Move all of these guys up. Oh. And cannons, and cannons, and cannons. And aim to wipe out this army as well. Good. Very good. Now he's got to slowly wear him out. Rather than do what I normally do and YOLO charge in. And there we are. The final culmination of my work. Although it was a pretty costly battle still, but I hope that I've killed more of them than they have of me. I hate it when I do that. And I do some unit shuffling. Because there's not enough space in the line. Die! Yeah, you're starting to take a lot of casualties. Yeah, I got no ammo now, which is a problem. Let's just human wave it down here now. I want to get 1,000 prisoners again. But these boys just won't vote, will they? That's not the voting kind. There we are, now they're starting to rout. Rather prefer them to surrender, but I hope. There we are, that's another 400 casualties. And I believe we can end the battle here. A glorious victory. So, 5,000 men is, well, about 6,000 men is 10% of my army, so 6, 12, 18, about 30% of my army got the good news. They have got an army of 48,000, 4,800 is their size, so it's 10 at 5,000 for 10%, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. They lost about 60% of their army. Yeah, about 60%. In terms of our goals, objectives achieved, we got a lot of guys upgraded, and we have captured an awful lot of supplies and weapons and equipment. But the question will be in terms of actual losses. That will be the thing. Can I recover my losses? So if I take a look, I've got 13,000. If I increase my medicine 2 more.
Sir, yes, sir.
And take a look, is it possible for me to recover my losses? Especially for my elite arm, which really took a pounding. Cavalry is useless. Switch over to the palmettos, thank you. Cannons, thank you. A lot of troops have lost their commanders.
sir. Sir, yes, sir.
1,500, 500, 500, 500. Give these cannons an upgrade. Make sure these cannons are all good. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, and then we have to repair what's left of these guys.
Form line. Yes, sir. Sir,
I have a
yes, sir.
sneaking suspicion that my army's going to come out preserved and not upgradable. Which is a shame. Almost. Damn. We're going to have to spend some points on this. Just to upgrade my army back to full size.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But everything else seems to be okay. But not really the sort of casualties we want to be always having. Anyway, let's go fix some army.
Yes, sir.
Equip all the injured boys. And give these guys logistics and logistics. I'll give these guys speed actually. Money's not the issue. The issue is I lost about half my my officer staff doing this. Jesus. I wish there was an auto level up. And that we are good. With some troop numbers to spare, so that as well. Upgrade one more infantry squad to give them some Mississippis. And now we can set about trying to improve the rest of our armies. So this is just really just infantry gun upgrades now. What have we captured? Oh, Enfields. Yes, I'll take that. Enfields. Yes, thank you. Enfields. Yes, please. And take Lorenz's, and we're good to go. Ah, yeah, that's about to see me probably end the stream, really. I'm just finishing off rebuilding my army, and then I will call it here. But welcome back. Welcome back. As fought the second Battle of Bulls Run, but it wasn't too bad. We did a pretty good job so far. Had a pretty good run so far, so I can't complain. Hup, hup. Enfields. This is a bit tedious, I'll be honest with you. But, have we got anything else we can equip? No, we haven't. Lorenz's, we can equip them with Mississippis now, though. But our troops are pretty well equipped now, which is also really good.
Yes, sir.
And finally, there we are. So, our next battle will be the Battle of Antietam, which is going to be a bit of a nightmare one. We'll just take a look first and see what sort of troops we should be able to bring to bear to the battle. And then that will dictate our policy. So, 3 corps, I can send 3 corps. I won't have any reinforcements. All I can send is 3 corps for left, right, and center. So what I need to do, if I go back to camp, I'm going to have to see if I can win enough battles to increase my army size a bit more. So once these are full, we'll hopefully go for army org and bring some more troops to the battle. But we've got the weapons factory and Chantilly to do next. So far so good. We've got a pretty healthy army size right now of 3 corps. I do want to see if I can afford a final large corps, but it would really just depend on how the next couple of battles go. My aim is to really have about 4 corps by the sort of the downhill period of the Confederate campaign, where you start running out of manpower. But it will really just depend on if I can afford to pour the troops out, and how well I do in the next battles. I think after Antietam is Fredericksburg, which is a free win for the Confederacy. So I think we'll be good. And Gettysburg is actually not that difficult a battle for this game, which is also pretty good as well. Anyway, save game. Thank you all for watching, boys. We will continue this on at a later date. Probably not throughout the week, but we may continue it on the weekends. I may be away over the next coming weeks, so if you don't see me on, that's that. But I will be back on later, just to do perhaps a video recording of Rising Front, which is that new sandbox World War One game, which I just do I just do a live stream on it. Anyway, thank you all for watching, boys, and I'll see you all later. Adieu.